Okay, I've learned some very important lessons over these past week since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I was at the Vault event when Patrick and David, at the Vault event's a business event for those who don't know, came out on stage. And before that, I actually saw the whole horrific scene. And it affected me in such a weird way. And I think it affected the whole world in such a weird way. My right hand guy in the Philippines, Nathaniel, his pastor's son. When we were redoing the Jeff J. Cunningham brand after branding all these people were stepping into my own, I've been always so afraid of coming out here and doing what I want to do for my content and doing all that before, right? I was literally afraid of like picture perfect content and scripting everything out and looking a certain way. I was like, just post it. Let's just get it out there, right? Well, Nathaniel came to me and said, "Hey, boss, I would love for you to get Charlie Kirk on your podcast." And it was funny because I knew Charlie Kirk back before when there was, a lot of things happening in America, and I was afraid we were going to go to socialistic, and still can, but socialism and the way the elections were turning and whether elections were happening or weren't happening, and people votes were getting casted, all this stuff that was going on, and COVID and everything in America, right? That was all happening. I was always getting pulled to make a voice for that and say certain things, but there was something holding me back. And it was funny because when Nathaniel said, "Hey, can you have Charlie Kirk on your podcast?" I reached out to that, and I was so happy because I saw myself a lot and I see myself in a lot of different people sometimes. But Charlie Kirk, if you don't know anything about me, my mom used to watch C-SPAN all the time. I wanted to be a politician. I thought it'd be so cool when I was young. We looked up. I remember my mom looking up the presidents at the time. William Jefferson Clinton was president. I remember thinking, what number will I be? I remember reading about Martin Luther King Jr. and being so moralized that people actually judge people by their skin. We grew up in a Pentecostal church. I was very blessed growing up in a Christian family household, great mom and dad, that I really didn't understand that people actually judge people differently. I knew people looked differently, but I didn't know people judge people differently until I remember reading that being homeschooled. So fast forward, when I wanted to say something or do something, I actually saw, Turning Point USA and everything with Charlie Kirk doing it. And I remember joining that. I remember joining as an influencer to speak at one of the events and really talking to some counsel and people saying, "Hey, that's not really wise with what you're trying to build with your business and your coffee shop and everything you're trying to do." So I kind of stepped back from that. But as we were rebranding, and as it was just getting more of a pull, right? I was getting more centered with the Lord. I came down here, went to VU Church here in Miami, got back here, got more strong in my faith. I didn't really care on who I'd offend, because I think that was a lot of like the lead was like, oh, I don't want to offend everybody. And I still don't want to offend people, right? Meaning like we're not making offend, but I'm so convicted by what I believe that I have to put it out there. Well, one person who figured this out way before and really just in 31 years lived a life a lot longer was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk believed his convictions, knew what he needed to do, and went out there and did it. And a lot of times he went out to, and it's very known that the media is very liberal and campuses are very liberal, meaning they're more left-leaning, right? They're more not conservative. And he went out and instead of, and I saw Theo Von's video on this, instead of him just tweeting like most people do, he did like live tweets in person, right? Went out to people and responded to them right in there and held his own and held his beliefs and stayed true to his beliefs of the Lord, of the family unit, of capitalism, right? Of these principles in there. And I agree with all those. I agree with, it's funny because once you align yourself with a person, people think you have everything about that. I think not everybody agrees with everybody 100%, but more than nothing, more than anything, Charlie Kirk, I was like, man, he's doing exactly what needs to be done, right? And on top of that, we have the most Gen Z who are the most conservative people. We have this whole movement that people are saying, "I am Charlie Kirk," meaning like you can't kill one of us. It's made people so much stronger. And it's funny, I've had so many people pray over me in my journey where I'm at. The Lord's going to use you in certain ways. And I've always felt compelled. So I prayed about this before when it all happened, and I waited a little bit before I posted this video because this business is so in flux a lot of times. I'm a coach consultant. I build online courses and put knowledge, as my man Brad Lee would say, people from the people who have it to the people who need it, right? as I do that all the time, we're doing webinars and marketing and all that deal. And I've been doing that for a while, and I have my mastermind. I've always had a pull to go into this realm, right? And I used to always like tease and say, one day I'll run for president, right? As a marketing thing, but also like as a, when I was young, I thought, man, I think it would be cool to have, and not just cool, like if a responsibility, like that's where you can make the most change. Proof and point, look at the 4 years we had when Biden was in, okay, and what happened there. And look at the little time when Trump's in, right? And there's a weird dichotomy right now with what's going on with Charlie Kirk. Everybody is sad, angry. We did a little podcast with my brother and my dad, and it was just Tony Robbins said this, and Tony Robbins was speaking at the same time of the event when it happened. He was talking appreciate life, and it was now we are free. And I'm in the vault event with Patrick and David when I found the news, and I just couldn't focus on Tony Robbins. Here's Tony Robbins. This is the first time seeing him live in person, and I can't focus because Charlie Kirk. As soon as I saw the thing, I thought, yeah, he's not going to make it. And my brother said something very clear, that there's so many people at that moment posting and praying for Charlie Kirk in that little time, which I don't even know how he survived that time. And my brother said, there's some people praying, and if the Lord is the Lord and he can raise Lazarus from the dead and everything, he could totally save Charlie Kirk like that in that moment, right? He could relive that, right? For him to die, the Lord must have a greater plan. Well, it's Monday morning. I came back from Food Church on Sunday, and there was record salvation. There were so many people saying, I want to give people shout outs. Hey, I went back to church because of this. I've seen this. So the funny thing is, when Charlie Kirk died, he said, before he died, he professed his faith like 20 seconds before. He said he wants people to remember him for the courage for his faith. And it really hit me. Like, man, how courage is this guy going out, staying up for the Lord every time he's doing that. So with that said, I joined Turning Pack. I prayed about it. I joined Turning Point USA. Whatever part we're going to be a part of that, wherever they need me. I think they had record submissions from that. I will be there for that. I'm also going to do my own little Capitalism, God, Freedom tour called You Don't Give Up in America. We're going to start it here in Midtown. We're going to be in Orlando next week. I'll share about that more if you want to start. We'll kick it off in Orlando September 19th and 20th for Amp Your Life and Manny over there. And it's so funny. So many people, like actually this picture right here that's here. This girl gave me this picture. It's Jesus walking with a lion and a lamb. And that was actually through another lady, Heather, used to pray for me all the time. And listen, the only thing I can ask right now is that, for your prayers, as I step into really kind of just what I know I'm called to do. The fear is the whole thing that holds any of you back. And it's funny, after it happened, even after Trump got assassinated, I remember thinking, man, maybe I won't run for president, right? And then as soon as Charlie Kirk happened, I thought, like, man, you can't even come out here and make these videos. You don't even want to do this stuff. And I was leaving the vault, and this girl stopped me. I don't remember her name. And she came up to me and she said, don't silence your voice, or don't let them get to you of your voice. You got to keep speaking, or don't double think it. I think you should just read the thought on my face. I was so dejected. I still am dejected. I was very cognizant of when I posted, because I was so emotionally charged, as I'm sure many of you are. And then I do want to say this. I'm going to say two other things. The TMZ guys celebrating in the background when they found out through the car chase and on that Charlie, it's just wrong, man. I pray for those people, and all these people who celebrating. I don't celebrate any death, man. There was 3 deaths that happened. The Liberty City guy, the girl on the train, this one. I don't celebrate any of these deaths. Like, I don't understand. I do understand that the guy was a future president, and he might not be, aligned with people's political beliefs. And it really makes me see very clearly that it's godly versus ungodly. My dad was right. Like, literally, the ungodly people search for that. That's the people who, like abortions up to 9 months and all that stuff, man. It's just ungodly at the end of the day. And it's just really sad. And, definitely got to pray for those people. And the second thing, too, is I've seen a lot of things, too, about Charlie Kirk speaking out against, certain narratives, and this is why he passed away. And, I'm almost even shy of saying it because like it's crazy, like literally that these narratives are like, I don't know, something, man. Theo Von said this in his video, that there's like this other dark world, and it's got to be demonic, right? We were doing this whole sermon at Boo Church on spiritual warfare, that we just don't know what's going on beyond it, but it feels like a dark force, right? And I think the only thing that the Lord called us to be is salt and light. So the only thing I can do is go and be salt and light, right? And as I go to step down to more Bible studies, John 3:30, he must increase, I must decrease. As I step into preserving God as his name and bring back, the Christian, we're going to have a revival now. Out of this whole thing, there'll be a revival. What Satan means for harm, the Lord always uses for good. And at the end of the day, I remember how it all ends in the end of the book, right? So I just had to post this video here. We're going to be doing more events, more on God, capitalism, and restoring the family unit in America, like in all. That's the biggest thing I was talking to people about here. We're about to do a gig pretty soon about the culture, and the culture of having the mom and dad in principle, loving, and everything is what builds up like great kids. I know because I used to be a behavioral school, and I saw what it did when people didn't have moms and dads. The people do. So restoring the family unit, putting God and Jesus first, and really just always preserving capitalism, as we've seen how that's worked in other nations like Cuba. We're going to do You Don't Give Up America. We're going to highlight a lot of immigrants who didn't give up in America here, and people who are American, kind of reviving that American entrepreneurial spirit too as well, and really enjoying that we have capitalism freedom while we have it left before it gets taken away, if it ever does, because it always feels like there's always a common threat. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. Reach out, Jeff the Entrepreneur. We do meetups or workshops, whatever, every end of the month. The event, Amp Your Life, is 19th and 20th. We'll kick off the You Don't Give Up in America tour, and I'm retooling everything that I'm speaking at that event for. So, all right, blessings.